on a long snapper, he better be your guy, and he better be good at it. So it does just add a little bit more pressure to the situation. And you look at other opportunities that were missed to grab a guy to develop because they went that way.
One more commercial break here. We want to thank Tony Hoaglund, Hoaglund. He handles my insurance. He handles Michael Russo's insurance. He works for State Farm, but he offers very personalized service. He's very responsive. And Tony, calm down. The Twins are, I can't guarantee they're going to win the World Series, but good Lord, try to enjoy the season, Tony.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
And our other sponsor is BiteSquad.com. Use promo code TALKNORTH to get your first delivery fee waived. Keep using them after that because they provide great service, great food, and breakfast, lunch, dinner, anywhere you are, work, home, out in a park, whatever. They will find you. They'll bring you restaurant-quality food and save you a lot of hassles. I use it all the time. BiteSquad.com, Bite Squad app. Check them out. So let's talk about quarterbacks because we love talking about quarterbacks.
Yeah.
One conversation I've had with Diamond and other people is you look back through Vikings history, and they made that magical 87 playoff run with a backup quarterback, Wade Wilson. They made the 98 run with the backup quarterback, Randall Cunningham. They had their best season since Brett Favre, and really their best season, their best season since Brett Favre was Case Keenum. And I don't know if they have a guy like that on this roster, and I think it's okay to be a little worried about that.
Yeah, I think so too, because we don't have a track record of seeing any of these guys in real game action. I will say, in fairness to that, I was of the opinion that when Case Keenum came in to relieve Bradford, that they were in real trouble.
So, I did too.
I didn't see anything from this guy that tells me that that he's going to catch lightning in a bottle the way that he did and be able to lead them the way that he was. So it's difficult to project that with guys with small sample size. And with Keenum, we had seen him in games certainly a lot more than Mannion, definitely than Sloter. But at the same time, he was like, I don't know about this guy. And he played out of his mind. It was great, but. Same with these guys. It would take them being into the live bullet action before you really know what you have. I think, I continue to be really interested in Kyle Sloter because every time he gets out there in the preseason, he plays really well. I do talk to scouts, though, and other people around the league, and, they always caution about preseason games and putting too much into it because defenses are so vanilla. You're playing against backups and scrubs. It's really, there's never going to be an easier time for a quarterback than in a preseason game, especially the second half of a preseason game. So you take that with a grain of salt. The other thing is that I think Vikings coaches have long been frustrated by Sloter in practice. He does not have the same sort of success. He does not have the same sort of attention to detail. He seems like this sort of freewheeling guy who kind of gets out in the bright lights and something clicks and he sort of plays by the seat of his pants. And that is a very nerve-wracking experience to have. Even though I love his arm talent, I think he's mobile. I like a lot of the things that I see from him that way. But there are all these other elements that play into, okay, who is going to, if Cousins goes down for a little bit, who can go 2-2 in a 4-game stretch? And I can see why they might not be able to rely on Kyle Sloter. So Sean Mannion, I'm not as familiar with. And
he just hasn't done as much.
He hasn't done as much, and he's been underwhelming so far to this point. So I think it's a very difficult decision that they have on their hands.
And what I hear about Sloter is pretty much the same vein that what you've heard, which is that they know he can make plays. They don't know if he can run an offense. They don't know if he can run an offense against, a number one offense against a number one defense. And that's a completely different ballgame than scrambling around and finding a guy who's not going to be on the team in the back of the end zone as time's running out in fourth quarter of a preseason game.
It is. I will say, though, that there was an element to Keenum that was improvise. Roll with the punches, make stuff happen when there was nothing available. And I think so far from what I've seen of the two of them, Mannion and Sloter, Browning's not going to be the backup quarterback. So I think that Sloter has more of that ability, and maybe so then there's more upside to him. But it's also, I understand, a white-knuckle ride when you put him out there. And so do you want just the more dependable, safe guy who could manage a game or two with a defense as good as you think this is going to be? Maybe that's the play. But I just, I see the chances for Sloter to have a Keenum-like run, I think, are higher than Mannion. But I think Mannion is probably more dependable to do what they want him to do the way they want him to do it.
Let's wrap up the show. Heading into preseason game number 2, I'll be there Sunday night. If you're a Viking fan, what should you be watching for?
Yeah, who's kicking and punting?
Oh, yeah.
I think that I really am going to be watching the long snapping as well. Like when we talked to Austin Cutting the other day after he was essentially named the winner of the job and they cut McDermott. He is an impressive kid from the Air Force, but you look at him and he is so young, and so they are asking a lot of him. And so I want to see how he does in his first game out there as the guy. Like, there's no safety net anymore. You're the one. Let's see how that goes. So I'm watching that closely. I do want to see how they handle the punting and the kickoffs and all of those things. The other thing I think that we continue to watch is the depth in the defensive backfield. Mike Hughes is not anywhere close to coming back, I don't think. And so you want to see Mackenzie Alexander, who was complimented by Mike Zimmer last week for sort of maturing a lot more than they thought he was capable of. But they're still pretty thin at that position. So how does that kind of shake out? Who's playing well there on the second and third teams, and what kind of set, and then let's see the offense build on what they did last week. They were impressive in that first drive, going right down and scoring. Maybe they'll get a couple of drives this time around and see if they can sustain that.
And we have to wrap it up on the ultimate Twitter question for this week. What it do, baby?
What it do?
Asks, will we see Vedvik hold a kick for himself at some point this season?
Now that would be something. Might do the Flutie drop kick kind of thing. Wouldn't that be nice?
Absolutely.